Okay. Is there any comments or changes that anyone wants to discuss on section 1, which I just read the first paragraph, or section 2, name of the agency? We know that. Office of the commission. Is there anyone here that needed to more time to review these things? Because we will go over it again on March 2nd.
I've had time, Mr. Chairman, and I might just say in regard to what was said earlier, the first set of bylaws that I got was adopted with a question mark 2018. The second set that I got said adopted April 16, 2018. So that's a few years back, and I think it's incumbent upon us to get through as much of this as we possibly can in our annual meeting tonight and get it agreed upon and voted on.
Okay. I'll go to item 4, which may affect us or may not. Resignations of a commission shall be in writing, transmitted to the chairman, town clerk, executive officer, which is the first selectman of the town.
Can I ask a question?
You can.
Just because I've had a long day, bylaws are always meticulous.
Okay.
Is there specific things that we wanted to change in this?
I think
I mean,
there is.
does anybody have
Yes.
a specific
Yes,
thing?
absolutely, along the way.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Well, let's do that first.
All right. First of all, you want to get to the dates. The dates of our meetings. And I was looking for those. If we're skipping over, I have to look for
Are
them.
we still on section 4, Mr. Chairman?
Yes, we can be on 4. Go ahead, Robert.
Just want to emphasize in there that everything's created in regards to ordinances and how the vacancies will be filled. And it's important to notice that the chief executive authority will fill vacancies. The chief executive authority is not the chief executive officer of the town. It is the Board of Selectmen. Just for clarification purposes, they fill the vacancies.
I think that coincides with the town's charter, doesn't it?
Should.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So
Okay.
let's discuss the things we need to fix. For instance, the meeting date, it says Monday. We're now doing Tuesday.
Right. That should be
So let's get that out of the way. That'd be a no-brainer.
Which page?
okay.
That's on page 6, section 8.
It also, if I may say, it says a regular meeting will be held on the 3rd Monday of each month at 6 p.m. or as determined by the annual schedule of the regular meeting approved by the commission, unless otherwise scheduled. So I don't see a reason to change that. Because
I agree with you, Bob, but there seems to be confusion and need to change bylaws. I was looking for a starting point. So if you've got a starting point, Bob Maynard, could you bring it up? Let's not reread the whole thing.
I'm just saying leave section 8.1 the way it is. There's no need to change it.
Okay.
Excuse me, could I help here? You do need to,
Yes.
because we are not on the 3rd Monday any longer. The meeting dates you approved, I believe, are the first Tuesday at 6. Am I off?
Yes. They were approved and voted on. Yes, Peggy.
So we need to change this in your bylaws, section 8, section 8.1. Regular meetings will be held on the first Tuesday
Well,
at 6 o'clock. Would I be correct or incorrect?
yes.
That would be half the sentence.
Okay,
Do
so
you have the bylaws in front of you, Peg?
I do.
Okay,
do.
we'll read the whole sentence.
I've read the whole sentence, but you're no longer meeting on the third Monday. You are now meeting on the first two.
The last half of the sentence starts with or.
So we can leave it as or and switch it to the first Tuesday, and then we can do whatever we want, just like we've done.
Okay,
That's
We're
true.
just trying to clean up the bylaw.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Chairman,
Yes,
as a matter of expediency, would it be proper to have you address all the questions and the remarks through the chairman? So we don't have this dialogue back and forth. It's very.
thank you, Robert.
Interruption.
Thank you. Okay, so that's something that we're gonna change, Peggy, in our bylaws to
Whatever.
the first Tuesday. It's been properly voted on and approved.
Okay.
I make a motion to change in the bylaws to read the first Tuesday or whatever Bob Maynard was saying. I'm not disagreeing with him. I'm agreeing with him. I'm just trying to get the first Tuesday in there instead of the first one.
There's a motion made. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, any more discussion on that?
I got a doctor's, it'll be quick. It's a doctor's office. I'm sorry. Hello, this is Bob.
Jim, before Bob gets back here, you asked that you not be a recording secretary as secretary, and no, you're an officer. But at some point, the absence of a secretary due to illness, personal disqualifications, and reasons, chairman shall appoint a secretary pro tem. Doesn't necessarily have to be you, but probably end up being myself. But there is in the bylaws, there is that
Right.
item.
Right, that's the difference. The secretary for the corporation is just the keeper of the things, records,
Yes.
etc.
Right.
This is Maria. Can we discuss section 4?
Okay.
Did we vote on the last one?
No, we're waiting for Bob. That's the voting is suspended, Jim.
Oh, well, we really shouldn't jump around. So we have enough here to vote. I didn't think Bob Lights was in disagreement, was he?
It was part of his motion. All in favor of changing that date in our bylaws, signify by saying aye.
Maria, I.
Jimbo,
Bob Maynard,
aye.
aye.
Okay, Gilbert, aye.
Bob Likas back, aye.
Okay, thank you. Maria, we want to help you out here. And which part of 4, Maria?
Can we talk about 4.2? Do we want to limit the time people can spend on this commission? I only say this because it looks like it's indefinite. I mean, I know that participation is down, but do we want to, do other commissions in the town have unlimited time terms?
If I can talk.
Go ahead, Bob, go ahead.
Maria, in the ordinance that created the Economic Commission, it says that the term of a member of the Economic Commission is 4 years.
Okay. That's what I thought.
Wow. Is that okay? That's something that we should address by motion. First of all, you want to keep it at 4 years. I
don't know if we can decide that.
I don't, Mr. Chairman,
know.
I would question whether or not you want to challenge an ordinance as well. I think it's just,
right.
without saying, it has to remain that way.
2 vacancies in the commission shall be filled.
Yeah, most of that's covered under the town charter. which affects every
Right.
commission. And we have to be in compliance with the town charter and state statutes.
Okay, Maria, I'm circling that for our next meeting, and we'll have an answer for you. Would that be satisfactory to you?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Could we briefly talk about 4.5? Under
Okay.
section 4.
Go right, okay. The chairman may recommend to the executive officer of the town removal of any member who fails to attend 3 successive regular meetings or 4 regular meetings in a calendar year without good cause. Such request will be made only after 2/3 vote of the entire commission and on the request of such member or alternate being removed after public hearing. So there's a process here. The word here is for good reason. And that's why this is 2/3 vote to try to decide or try to decipher what good reason is. And we have a case right here with Bob, who is on a pretty important meetings that bring in revenue to our town. So that is something that can be debated. And we have that process here in 4.5. So not to, well, I did point you out, Bob, but that's something I appreciate what you're doing. I know what that is. And I do the same for Greater Hartford Transit. But fortunately, my meetings for Greater Hartford Transit's on Thursdays. And it's not any particular Thursday, just when we call it. But that's a little different.
So, Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir, Jim.
if we're not, we can leave that till next month. I agree with you. What other items do we really have to address in the bylaws? I don't see anything wrong with them, so I'm not quite sure what else we need to address.
Well, anything that's anything to address that, anything that's wrong with them is something to really sit down and go over them and see the pros and cons of what we're actually reading. And I would suggest that we do that. I have a lot of red marks on my paper. There's a couple of things I did want to say. First of all, I don't think it's out of order. It's backward election is. It's just, I just want to say that our meetings have been pretty much not on a regular schedule up until now. I just want to say I have no rebuttal for past verbal or written innuendos or allegations. We go forward as a commission together, and there's no commentary. Just want to say that I'll do the best I can. As you can see, I'm a volunteer, and I kind of hop around some of this, and with the help of people like all members, we'll get through this, and I appreciate that.
Okay, well then, with that, I'd like to make a motion that we accept the bylaws as they are with the changes we've made, and the bylaws allow for us to discuss it in the future so that we can move on to the other matters on our agenda.
Thank you, Jim. I would like to add that we'd be allowed to amend where we see there is a need, our bylaws going forth. Can you add that to your motion, Jim?
I'll add that to my motion. I didn't hear a second, so I was waiting for a second so we could discuss.
Okay, I can second it according to Robert.
Okay, and I will amend my motion that allows us to amend the bylaws as we deem necessary.
For purposes of discussion, I would like to go back to section 6, and I'm going to vote to not postpone.
We have a motion on the floor right now, Mr.
Oh, you know what? I'll withdraw my motion I kept asking if people had names so we can move along. So if Bob has something on section 6, let's go back to it. I withdraw my motion.
My second's withdrawn. Thank you. Go ahead, Mr. Like. Section 6.
We need some housekeeping, especially about section 6. I don't know that we've ever had somebody by the title of Economic Development Director, and if so, we have never described their duties, and it's left blank under section 6 on my copy of the bylaws. I don't think that changed since I got an update.
Yeah, I have that marked out too. I have Ruth Ann or Clark.
If it's in regards to the economic coordinator, first of all, their job description would be finalized by the Board of Selectmen. Our job would be to advise to the Board of Selectmen what we think would be necessary or possibilities, etc. So I'm not against discussing that whole matter in the future. I'm just trying to get the bylaws set so we can move on to the next thing, which I think is public presentation. And then on to our general discussion. We're now 10 of 7. I'd like to get going.
The chair is in agreement. Is there any other items that need to be discussed or changed at this evening's annual meeting, or can they wait till March 2nd? Okay, Bob Maynard, anything?
No.
And myself, no. Bob Like?
I'd just like some clarification, if you want to put it off till the next meeting, about the commissioner training, as it's called. We're not really commissioners, we're commission members, but about where we're supposed to be trained, partic in these inland wetland and water courses issues and so forth and so on. I think it's important that we all know what our obligations or duties are.
Okay, that's something that's going to take a little more than tonight's meeting, Robert.
I would agree. Okay.
But for the record, that's duly noted, and it's going to be circled here on my list. Okay, are there any other items on the bylaws that need to be addressed tonight before we vote on them?
Move that we postpone the activity or the action tonight on the bylaw meetings until our next meeting, which is what, March 6th or 2nd or whatever it is.
I'm going to
Why are
refer
we
to Ruth Ann. Go ahead. Jim?
Well,
Okay,
that's
so
what I tried to do earlier. I don't think we
Yeah,
can.
no.
I think we're supposed to.
Right. I'm
there are
referring to-
changes that you'd like to make to your bylaws? You know, you mentioned the dates of the meeting, and I don't know if there's others. There are issues as you read the bylaws you're questioning and you'd like to have some clarification on that can go on the next meeting's agenda. And
Good.
the ones that I have noted, just the most recent one was training, right?
Yes.
Where to get that and how to get that. Whether or not there's a limit on the terms, because there's reappointments that occur as well.
Right. It's also section 13-1. It's very hard to get membership here.
Okay,
And volunteers are hard to come by. We have to probably put on a mask or 2 masks. Well, we can put on masks now and go grab someone from some other commission, but there's one item that I marked in red, and I got it as omit. It says, no regular member or alternate member or agency shall participate in any matters interest in the commission in which he or she or any member of his or her family directly or indirectly interested personally or financially. We do have that situation in town where there are spousal memberships, and we're looking to put on a well-qualified, at least in my opinion, a well-qualified. It's on the record out on the Board of Selectmen qualified person who has a degree in going into a master's, but that qualifications I'd like to read out probably in the next meeting or maybe in general discussion. That no action was taken on that, so it's still an open application, and just want to indicate that we are working hard to fill our board.
So it sounds like there's several future meeting agenda items, which is good because it'll tie the commission, this group, closer to your bylaws. You know, you're trying to carry out your duties by way of following the bylaws. So that's all good.
Okay, then,
You
then
may
other
want to
than-
go back to where are you at with your, as written, the bylaws, any changes you want to make, and
okay, I make a motion that we accept the bylaws as they are tonight, understanding that we will be looking at and making possible amendments to those bylaws in the future.
Can we get a second? Chair seconds for discussion.
I'm
The
gonna
motion is, as Jim stated, that we're going to table this or postpone this, the bylaws, and go over further any recommendations or changes for amendments in our future meeting, perhaps in March 2nd, which will be a special meeting, but we'll have to indicate what we're doing on the bylaws at that meeting.
I'm not sure. Could we have that motion reread again? I'm not so sure I understand it. I thought he said to approve them tonight.
I made a motion, I'll do it slow. I make a motion to approve the bylaws with the changes presented tonight, with the allowance to amend at future meetings. This will allow us to end this discussion tonight, which we should be taking time to do, and allow it for future meetings, and then we can get on to the rest of our agenda.
Do we have a
That's
second?
all
I
I'm
second
doing.
that.
I'm
I
not
already
saying we
seconded
can't discuss it.
could I
Maria
just,
seconds, so we can move on.
Go ahead, Ruth Ann.
I just want to make clear, just, you know, if Peg may have left already. Okay.
Yeah.
Just that what's being approved is the one change, which was to change the third Monday to the first Tuesday. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
I would like to add, Mr. Chairman, if I might, that these bylaws can be amended by a 2/3 vote of the members present of any agency of the agency only after the proposed change has been read and discussed at a previous regular meeting. We can't do it tonight.
Well, then,
Okay.
I make a motion to end the discussion then. My goodness, if
Call the
that's the
question.
case,
Call the
This is
question.
Maria. I seconded it,
Go
so we
go
can
ahead,
move on.
Maria.
I
Maria,
seconded
you're
it, so we can move
recognized.
on. Running out of time here.
Call the question. Everyone in favor of, anyone in favor of moving on with the approving the change that we have tonight, and then with possible amendments at later meetings? All
aye.
in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Bob, like?
Nay.
Bob Maynard?
Aye.
Ayes have it, 3-1. Ayes have it. Motion passes. Next on the agenda. In a bit. Okay, we're down to public participation. Is there anyone in the public that may have something they wanted to discuss with us or to say to us? You have to, if you would, please state your name and address for the recording, the secretary pro tem, which is Ruth. Do we have it? Go ahead. Go ahead, Marie. You're
Marie D'Souza,
recognized.
Marie D'Souza, 10 Rice Road, Bradbrook.
Yeah.
I want to apologize. I have a public hearing and Board of Selectmen meeting, so I'm going to have to sign off. But I just want to say thank you to Gil for saying that you're willing to move forward in the best interest of the commission. So, thank you for that. I asked, that in looking at the bylaws in the future, you look at the bylaws without having a set person in your mind. The bylaws are going to be, expunged from any kind of associations, because I don't want bylaws that are going to come back to be Pacific driven by individuals. That's not what the board is about. So keep that under mind if you don't mind. And if I could get a copy of the EDC expenditures for 2016 to 20 to review before the minutes, I'd appreciate that, only because I have to go off.
Okay.
Okay.
We have hard copies here. And I think you can get those from Ruth Ann.
Marie, were you on the distribution that Amanda sent out with the agenda?
I get some stuff from Amanda, but I don't remember seeing.
Okay,
that.
I'll forward to you
I'll
what she
I'll
sent to
double check, and
me.
if it's not online, if I can't find it, I'll give you a call.
Okay.
Okay, all right.
Yep,
Good night,
thank you.
everyone.
Thank you, Marie. Thank you for
Yeah.
your advice.
Yeah,
Thank you.
good night.
Good night. Any more public participation? If not, we'll go into general discussion. And the first thing on general discussion would be the status of our website, which goes to Bob Maynard.
Yes. This website's ready to go. And then I called Jason on July 17th, 2020, 6 months ago, maybe a little more. And he felt that it would be in the best interest to replace the Planning and Development Board and involve them with the EDC website before the EDC website is implemented. So since Clark Chapin is now in position, I
Very good.
will talk to him. I also, by the way, on February 24th, I'm going to get my second vaccination. So I won't get COVID. So maybe I can come in and talk to both you, Ruth, and Clark about the website, show it to you, basically.
Great.
Good.
That'll be good. Thank you very much for your hard work, Bob Maynard.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you. So that's good news. That's good news. That's something that once you get together with Clark and have something finalized, you can bring it back to us. Hopefully, if you can't, maybe Ruth Ann or Clark can join us in one of our meetings. All right.
Yeah, I'm not sure if maybe on Zoom, if you can share documents, if I could.
Yes.
You can't go to the website yourself because you have to have a password and a user ID to get into it because it's not available to the public at this time.
No.
During the
Okay.
regular meetings, we'll be able to share the screen easily.
Yes, yeah.
And do that, yeah.
Good. Thank you, Bob, for your hard work. Okay. Now we have some B. Is that something we want to get into tonight? The POCD action items.
So that's something that the group was aiming to do a couple meetings back now, and just hasn't really launched. And I started looking through the Plan of Conservation and Development at the action items. And if you remember, the group here was to go through and kind of pick their top 3 to 5 items to kind of align on what would be the focus for this team. And the first action item in the Plan of Conservation and Development is to institute a implementation plan for the action items. And that has not been done. And so I've been working with Clark and Jason and kind of talking through how that gets done. And so I'm going to be attending the Planning and Zoning Commission meeting next week to talk to them about that. just to see what that implementation team what form that will take, and that will help direct where the priorities are and the
Mr. Chairman?
role that the team would play.
Go
Mr.
ahead,
Chairman?
Jim. Go ahead, Jim.
Yes, it was my idea to go back to the POCD because we helped write it years ago. And the section that I'm interested in, which has been a problem, and my suggestion was everybody find something, and I guarantee we'll have 5 different items that we can do the implementation of a plan, how to accomplish those items. My item was to work on the Route 140 and getting Connecticut Water, or trying to figure out how to get Connecticut Water to run a line down there along with the sewer lines. In the past, they couldn't because of the regulators. And hopefully we can come up with a plan. There's been some development, just the Watermill Landing, the Bass Plaza there is hopefully doing something in the future. That's why I'm talking about Route 140. That's the one that's lacking that infrastructure. We got the sewer line via the EDC, looking at things like the United States Department of Agriculture grants, etc. This was years ago. And then maybe that's what we should be looking at. How do we convince Connecticut Water, or even more importantly, their regulators, their staff think it's a good idea, but to get a water line down there so that we could start putting in projects, because that's a detriment. When someone goes to build, they got to have the water line laid to them. They got the sewer going out, but not the water coming in. That's just one thing that I had come up with.
That was really discussed when you put in we put in the sewers. It was whether it was cost effective, and the Connecticut Water having stockholders, they were looking for some big company. I don't know if that's changed to pay for their water, hook up the lines and put it down there, and then of course they would get their profit from use.
Right, and that's what the regulators, if you talk to the staff back then, they were saying, yes, we should do it because you're tearing up the road anyway. But it got down to the state level, the people that don't see, the same ones that want to put roundabouts on each side of the river, that don't live out here, don't understand the traffic and the possibilities. So that's what I'm saying. We probably need to mount a campaign to Connecticut Water and the regulators.
I think that's a very good item that you chose, Jim, and you should stick with that. I'm a transportation person, and I was just the last almost 10 years now at Greater Hartford Transit, and I've been after them. One time they did have a bus route, a DOT route coming up into Broadbrook, but that didn't pay out. And Greater Hartford Transit, those little buses you see called jitterbugs, they would only follow a DOT route. And we don't have that. So I'm still nagging at the chair, Vicki Shotland, who's a pretty good person.
Well, and I agree with you, Joe. We had that thing last year or 2 years ago that Melissa put on in regards to the transportation up, and a good part of our workforce can't get out to get to work because they got to have a car or they can't travel.
Right.
So
they can't get
right up on EDC.
Yes, and prior to the COVID, there was a big question about a good more than 10% of our population is in Mill Pond, and they're landlocked.
Right.
If you don't have a car, that's it. You can't go. These kids can't go out and get a part-time job because there's no transportation. I argued all that, and that's what I'm going to be sticking with, Jim. Thank you.
Yep.
Mr. Chairman,
You
along
recognize.
the lines of Jim's interest and commitment to I think it's called the Northern Business Corridor, which is considered Route 140. I would take a similar interest in the Route 5 corridor, Prospect Hill Road and down South Main Street. And there's an awful lot of things to be considered regarding infrastructure, present construction, transportation, how you have to get involved with DOT. regarding commercial development in that area. We do have a Route 5 corridor, a Route 5 committee. I'm not sure who's on it, but I know for one, Larry Tribble has been very active in the past in that situation. As an end to all end, I'd like to refer to page 6 of the plan of development and say that here it's one of the action plans under there that Ruth Ann may have been referring to is to create a POCD implementation committee with planning and zoning and board of selectmen and the town planner and the town engineer. I would for one volunteer if we could have a representative to be a liaison on that particular committee from economic development.
Thank you, Robert.
Well, I think the focus on Route 5 is absolutely correct. The reason I bring up 140 is the lack of infrastructure. Where you're talking, Bob, my concern is twofold. What's coming out of South Windsor, are we picking up that traffic and utilizing it to our advantage? The other is Windsor Locks is about moving quickly with their sports complex, which I've been in touch with Mr. Zakervich, the first selectman over there. And we've been discussing how East Windsor will benefit from the sports complex, bringing in hotel business and so on. So we need to try to make sure that when the state revamps these roads, that they don't cut off people getting to East Windsor across the bridge. That's a big concern I'm having, and that's more of the DOT, just like you were saying, Bob Likes.
Mr. Chairman, I certainly I concur. DOT is very involved, but so are the public utilities. My very humble opinion is that had we have had the opportunity and the wherewithal and the influence to put in a natural gas line and a water line at the same time we put the sewers down Route 140, we would be in a whole different ballgame. And we want to keep that in mind for all of our future development of the major highways and byways.
Right. Clark, you have a big challenge ahead of you. We'll help you as much as we can if he's still here. Is Clark
Yes,
still-
I'm still here, and I have been taking notes, and I see that Melissa did join us briefly, and it looks like the meeting's now being recorded, so
Good.
We won't lose track of any of these things to do.
Okay, thank you. Anything further on the plan of conservation? Anything further from anyone? Robert? No. I want to go into, Jim, you got a big packet going back to 2016 on EDC expenditures. Can you enlighten us as to what you might be looking for, or just give us
Well, unfortunately, I'd be glad to answer that. Unfortunately, the budget for the EDC, instead of increasing, which when I got on 15 years ago was about $500, we are almost to $5,000, and I'm trying to find out why we didn't expend any money for the last few years. There's 3 matters on there that I'm investigating now. What is it, an aerial photography and something else. I'm trying to know more about that. But it looks like other than a few things like the attendance at North Central Chambers event, maybe 1 or 2 other educational things, we really have not spent any of our money, which has caused our budget to decrease, which is going to affect us being able to do things. I know the focus in the last few years has been getting an economic coordinator, but that's not going to come out of this budget. That's going to have to be a town job. We're going to have to convince the Board of Selectmen, the Board of Finance, and we're going to need about $150,000 extra, which the town doesn't have this year. But at the same time, we could be running functions. When we did the Eat Out East Windsor in the fall, this is something that the EDC could have sponsored right now, instead of us having to go out to the private businesses. And for a very small investment, we could let our businesses know the town cares. Now, that last one was presented that, I'm just using that as an example, by the way.
Sure.
Well, you know, that's what I'm looking at. If we're gonna get a budget, we should start thinking about how do we use it. Are we
Well, Jim, that-
advertising in major magazines for whatever? That all
Okay.
costs money.
Jim, that brings to mind, I jotted down a note earlier today about creating, after seeing all the information you brought forth, and thank you for doing that, and we appreciate it. I was thinking about creating a finance subcommittee and to assign clerical financial coordinator, and they could do that by 14-1 in our bylaws, and to assign you that, and you can give reports to us during our meetings, just like you're doing today, so we don't have to go through from 2016 to 2020, I think it was. But you can bring out the points like you just did, and we would appreciate that. I think as chairman, I can create it, but it has to be by a vote. That would have to come in your next meeting, next special meeting.
I don't think we need to do that. This work, if now that I'm the secretary, this is actually work that would probably fall under the secretary's purview, being the keeper of the records. In other words, corporate papers, money spent, money's not spent. I'd be glad to give you an update whenever necessary, and certainly explain what we did, because the explanation and making sure things are running the way they're supposed to when it comes to spending the money properly, etc.
Okay,
So,
Jim,
yeah, I mean, I'd be
appreciate that.
glad to handle that as secretary.
Yes, okay, that'd be fine, and then you can give us a report, and anything we have to
Certainly.
vote on, we do so. Thank you. Is it okay to move on? Is everyone all
I
set?
have some remarks about it, if you don't mind, Mr. Chairman. I think it's great to have a watchdog for the finances, and we're all responsible for that. I like the idea. Everything is predicated by a budget. And we're about 15 minutes late for this next year's budget and public participation at the hearing that's going on right now. And I think we all better keep an eye on it. And we all better have an indication
Right.
about how we're going to keep track of it, monthly expenditures, income, et cetera, plans for the use of the budget in the future. And Jim was on the right track. But we need to take it upon ourselves, not rely on the town treasurer and the board of selectmen and the board of finance to do this for us.
Right.
Thank you.
And by the way, in the budget proposed tonight, I didn't see anything. I saw something about a grant that was in the cover letter from the first selectman in the budget for a developer. So,
Well, that's a possibility. Again, that falls under the select. We can push
Right.
for it, but they're going to make the job description. They're going to take the application. Just as we had with Roger O'Brien, we had him. He was a part-time coordinator. And I think if we could find even a part-time, but Clark's got experience and Ruth's got experience, so we probably can get by and move forward.
Okay, let's see what happens with that grant, and
Oh, yeah.
we're looking forward to that. If there's any other EDC expenditures, I think general discussion, unless someone has something really important, I do have one mention about one thing that for Maria. Thank you for at least staying on board, Maria. And I'm eager, and I think we all are eager to listen as you are. So it's good to have you, just staying on and trying to, sweat it out. No other way to put it. Thank you. And thank all the members for your participation. Bob Maynard, we're going to miss you, but do your work. We're still here, okay? We're here for you as long as we can be.
just one last thought personally in my mind, Mr. Chairman, is I think we've seen a very cohesive, proactive get together tonight of all the members and the alternates and people from the planning department. And I can't emphasize enough how many fingers and minds make the workload a lot easier, a lot more fun, and that's what we need to do. And we need to put all of our efforts in right now to recruiting, to fill qualified people to take these vacancies that are willing to work like each and every one of us has shown tonight.
I agree, Robert.
Not only recruiting, but influencing the chief executive authority, which is the entire Board of Selectmen.
Right.
Make some appointments. Contact the local town committees. We can,
Right.
we can independently go after alternates. By the way, just, and along that lines, right now, the 2 vacancies can be filled by either party or an unaffiliated voter. And the town meeting recordings, the town website recordings of the economic development have Mr. Bob Maynard down as a Republican, and that needs to be corrected.
Okay, Bob, you're independent, Bob Maynard?
Unaffiliated. that's
Unaffiliated.
correct.
Unaffiliated. Thank you. If there's nothing else, we have general discussion. Is there anyone who has anything to say before we adjourn?
I would really like to see us try to think of some kind of local program we can run in the spring, similar to what we did in the fall, urging people to either eat out or shop East Windsor. It could be as simple as buying ad space. But I do know that with the last program, I got both North Central and the JI to donate their ad space. So think about out of the box what maybe we can do for the smaller business in town for next month.
Thank you.
A couple weeks back.
Proactive local businesses. Okay. Thank you, Jim. Is there anyone else before we adjourn? If not, I call for a motion to adjourn.
So move.
If we adjourn, Bob Maynard.
Okay.
Right.
All in favor, good night. Thank you, Ruth Ann, and thank you, Clark.
Thank
Is
you.
it right, you don't
Yeah.
mind me saying Ruth Ann, is it Ruth Ann?
The motion isn't debatable, but it can be voted on.
All in
Aye.
favor of adjournment? Aye.
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 I just see Ruth, R-U-T-H, and that's what I'll call you.
Yeah,
Forgive me.
that's
Okay.
fine. No, either way.
Good to meet you, Clark.
All right,
Thank you.
Yes,
you.
Mr. Clark.
I'm going out, okay?
Yeah,
I'm going out.
See you at the
Thank you.
Board of Finance, the Board of Selectmen hearing.
Yeah, I'm going over there, thanks.
okay.
care.
Bye-bye.
You sent me the link to get onto it, Bobby? Did you?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Thank you, bye.
Public participation on the budget for the EDC. I'm gone.
Bye.